Hello and welcome to PSY 230 Personality Theory. My name is Dr. Tamara Daly and I'll be your instructor this semester for this course. The purpose of this video is to give you a little orientation to the course on the Learning Management System on D2L, to also give you a view of your textbook on perusal, and kind of walk you through the syllabus just so that you have a way of orienting yourself and thinking about what you're going to be doing this semester in this class. So once you open up the D2L page, the D2L page is going to have kind of the normal things at the top: course materials, assessments, progress, communication, and so on. Where you're going to want to go first is this place that says Start Here. Under this tab, you have a number of embedded web pages. You have a welcome to the course, an orientation, which is where this video is actually going to be posted after I'm finished recording it. Course description and goals, syllabus, course references, and then an introduction to perusal. So most of this video is going to be focused on this section of the D2L page. So the first part is the kind of just a welcome message. It gives you my contact information, a little bit of information about me, my email address, my office phone number. My office is located on the second floor of Tottenham Hood Hall. That's where all of the Department of Psychology, Neuroscience, and Human Development faculty have their offices. Even though this class will be online and asynchronous, I will be in my office at a minimum of 4 days a week. Thursdays are a day that I do not have classes, so that's most likely the day that I will not be on campus, but I will be around. So you can feel free to look me up in my office when I am on campus. My office hours are by appointment. What I've found over the last 2 years that's worked really well is having students access my calendar and book appointments with me when I have free time. And in order to do that, you click on this link for my bookings page. And this basically allows you to select the time that I'm not already busy on my Outlook calendar, and you can book an appointment. You can either make an appointment for an online Teams meeting, or you can book an in-person appointment where you come to my office. The course description and learning goals, this is basically the same description that is in the catalog for the university. PSY 230 is like a lot of our 200 level courses in the department. It's a survey course where we're covering a specific area within psychology. And in personality theory, we're going to be covering a lot of classic theories like psychoanalysis and humanism, thinking about how people have described the growth, development, and expression of human personality. The only prerequisite for the course is Psychology 110, or that you've had an introductory psychology course in high school. If there are any questions about that, you can ask me. Our goals in the course across the semester, you're going to learn how personality theorists and personality psychologists have defined what personality is, and you'll see that it's defined in many, many different ways. You're going to learn how to compare and contrast various theories that have very different underlying beliefs, values, and assumptions. You're going to be able to identify the role that the historical and cultural context plays in the assumptions made by each theory. You're going to learn how to evaluate theories in terms of verifiability, comprehensiveness, and utility. And you're also going to learn how to apply these theories to your own everyday life through both your reflections on your reading and through some practical exercises that I will assign you with each of the full chapters in the textbook. There are some connections to our overarching department goals. In terms of the knowledge base, you're going to learn a lot about the major schools of thought within psychology, and the way in which those major schools of thought have impacted actual practice. You're going to get some practice thinking critically about each theory in terms of pros and cons, effective explanation, and also, logical pitfalls, and so on. In terms of applying the ideas to yourself, you're going to be able, through your personal reflections, through your reading, and through the activities that I give you, you're going to be able to kind of, really directly apply the ideas that are presented in each theory to your own experience. And as we move through each theory, we will be asking questions about personal values, personal ethics, and professionalism, because most of our theorists are clinical or counseling type professionals. There are, raised questions about what does this theory mean in terms of ethics and values, and so on. So those are the course goals and the description. I've uploaded 2 different versions of the syllabus. There's a PDF version that opens directly on the site and that you can download. There's also a Word version that you can download. And I've also uploaded a separate document that extracts the calendar pages for the syllabus. So first, the syllabus. If you look at the syllabus, it's structured the way all of your syllabi are, in terms of some of the things we've already talked about, the goals. There are also additional elements that we tend, as faculty at the University of Mount Union, to include. I'm going to skip over some of those elements. You'll notice on the D2L page that things like the tech requirements, the course materials, and so on are also duplicated on the D2L page, so that you have easy access to them whether or not you have access to this particular file. There's information both in the syllabus and on the D2L page about your course textbook and your access to it. There's information about grading and evaluation and the connections to the learning goals of the course, the types of assignments, and I do have an affinity for color coding. So anytime I'm talking about your chapter quizzes, they're going to be blue, green for reading engagement, and yellow for personal reflections. In this class, the way I've designed it, you have reading in your chapters, video lectures over the chapters, and then chapter quizzes for each chapter. So essentially you're going to read, you're going to watch the videos, and then you take a quiz over that material. As a part of your reading, you're also going to do reading engagement on perusal. If you've not taken one of my courses where I assign reading through perusal, this will be a new experience, but you'll catch on to it really quickly. Essentially, it's like social media for reading, and I'll show you in a minute here exactly what it looks like in process. So you'll be doing reading engagement, and then there are what I'm calling personal reflections, for want of a better term for it. In the Frager and Fadiman text, they have just sections in most of the chapters that are called personal reflection exercises. And I give you, for each of the full chapters, 2 to choose from, and you choose one. You do the exercise, and then you write me a brief, minimum 150-word reflection on the exercise. And you'll do this every week. It'll end up being kind of like a reflective journal that you complete over the course of the semester. And your grade is going to be broken down into, about 50% of your grade is going to be your quizzes, chapter quizzes, 25% reading engagement, which when you're reading your text, you're going to be writing comments, asking questions, interacting with your classmates, interacting with me in that space. And that's why it's called reading engagement. So that's 25% of your grade. And then your reflection exercise is going to be 25% of your grade. There is an extra credit option. One of my favorite podcasts is called The Hidden Brain. If you want to earn some extra credit, you can listen to any episode of the podcast and write a roughly 350-word reflection on the episode. You can do that up to 3 times. The other kinds of things here in the syllabus are common to pretty much all of the syllabi you're going to receive in courses on our campus. Obviously, you're already in an asynchronous online course, so we won't be having to flip or change what we're doing based on the pandemic. But there are always possibilities we will have to make adjustments to the schedule, and I reserve the right to do that. I do expect you to check your Mountain Union email at the very least on a daily basis. It is really the only way I have of contacting you. I don't have access to your cell phones. I don't want access to your cell phones. The only way I can get in touch with you as a group and as individuals is through your email. And same goes for you contacting me. The primary way that you're going to talk to me is through email or through Teams meetings with me. So make sure that you are using those resources. The other kinds of policies here are things that you can review on your own, and I'm not going to take time in this video to go over them. There is a portion of the syllabus that is also reproduced on the D2L page that you will need to familiarize yourself with if you have not taken a course using Perusal in the past. Essentially what Perusal does, it helps you to engage with your reading, and given that this is an online class, it gives you an opportunity to get to know your classmates and how they think and what kind of questions they ask. It allows you to get to know each other in a way that's really hard to do in an online environment when we're doing class asynchronously. I very much enjoy it. I love reading the comments and interacting with all of you, and especially when you ask questions, I enjoy answering them. If I sit down with Perusal during my several times during the week, and I read every comment that people post. I may not always respond to every comment, but I read every single one, and I respond to almost every single question. And I find that it's a really helpful way of getting students to engage in their reading. Now, what will happen when you're on Perusal is that you'll make what are called in Perusal annotations, comments, questions, statements. You get more points for your annotations, and it's an artificial intelligence that is scoring you, but I have found that it's pretty reliable. You get comments that, you get scores that are low if you don't appear to be reading with any active intent, if your comments demonstrate only superficial reading, like you're repeating a statement that was in the text, or if you say something really short like, yeah, I agree with that, you're going to get low scores for those sorts of things. You get higher scores, 2s and 3s, if it's clear that you are making comments, asking questions that go beyond the text, that are insightful, that are thoughtful, and that show that you're engaging. You also get more points if you are commenting throughout a reading assignment, so not just on the first page, but throughout the entire chapter. In my class, I'm asking you to make 3 annotations at a minimum, and there is an on-time deadline for submissions. And I'll talk a little bit more about this after we go to the Perusal page. The last part of the syllabus is the calendar. I find the D2L calendar in some ways to be useful, in other ways to be completely annoying. Regardless, I want you to have on paper, in a form that you can print out or have ready access to, the week-by-week schedule that you are going to be following. This first week, there's a very short introduction to the textbook that I'm having you read and making your perusal annotations to. That's your only assignment for week 1. After that, when we start into week 2, you're going to have pretty much every week you're going to have 3 things that you have to do. You have a reflective exercise, you have your perusal annotations and your reading, and you have your chapter quiz. In between those things, you have video lectures that are designed to improve your quiz performance. So the schedule is laid out. Excuse the noise behind me. The dogs have decided that they need to be busy. But the whole semester should be laid out for you. I would encourage you to download. If you keep a physical notebook of your materials, you can print that out. As I mentioned, your course textbook is Frager and Fadiman's Personality and Personal Growth. The text is only available through perusal. And by that I mean I am requiring you to access the text through that website because you do the active reading engagement through that location. So what you're going to do when you create an account on perusal, you will get a course code, and this is the code that I provided you in your syllabus and on the D2L page. You enter that code and that enrolls you in the class. That doesn't give you access to the textbook. So after you do that, you've joined the class. Then you still need to get access to the textbook. And there are 2 ways for you to do that. You can either get a code, and this is what I'm told. I'm expecting there will be some hiccups along the way, but you can get a code through Barnes & Noble, through the university store, that will give you access to the textbook. If you're not eligible for that, and I'm kind of vague on the details here, you can purchase access directly through perusal to get access to the textbook. As I said, we're making this transition as a university to Barnes & Noble, and we're trying to do the first day access to the text. Hopefully we will get everything ironed out within the first week without any problems. But please let me know if you're running into challenges as I work with the bookstore or the university store to get this all functional. So once you have access, your first reading assignment in week 1 is going to be the Frager and Fadiman introduction. And once you open this, kind of the way things work is you're reading and you find something interesting that you want to comment on. So when you find something interesting that you read, you highlight it and then you make a comment. That's called an annotation. And you notice how it looks like a social media page in some ways, and in many ways that's how it functions. You can @ people, you can hashtag, you can add things, you can embed code, you can do all kinds of things. But that's how you include your comments on your reading. I do apologize again for the noisy dogs in the background. As I mentioned, this document, how perusal works, it's also in your syllabus, but you can refer to it here as well. These additional resources and policies are also elements from your syllabus, but they are included on the D2L page in addition so that you have easy access to them. Where you're going to be spending most of your time is in the weekly modules. These will become available as I get them completed. I will be recording lectures weekly and adding them to each page. So be patient with me as I get those completed. At the very latest, video lectures will become available the Sunday of the week that you're starting. since week 1 is ready to go, I can show you how I'm planning to lay out each of your weekly modules. Each module is going to have an overview, just sort of a broad description of what you're going to be studying that week, a set of learning objectives for that week, and then a task list. So your tasks for week 1 are to get perusal access, and I've included the link there for you. There's also a page for, it's basically a getting started orientation page for perusal. If you've never used perusal, you should follow that link and read it so that you can watch some of their training videos, and you'll feel more confident getting started with perusal. Then you need to read the introduction. That's the first assignment on perusal, and you're required to make a minimum of 3 annotations. The deadline for that is January 15th by 11:59. And then you can watch the lecture videos for part 1. Each of these videos is posted to my YouTube page, or channel, I guess it's called. And as we build up a set of videos, there will be a playlist for PSY 230. Sometimes I include embedded videos in my PowerPoints, and they aren't always easy to hear. I should really remember to take the dog's collars off when I'm recording. Anyway, sometimes I take the actual videos that have been embedded in the PowerPoints and post them to the playlist so that they are more audio friendly. And so I may sometimes direct you in the weekly modules to the YouTube playlist. So it might be helpful for you to familiarize yourself with how to do that. So that's your overview of the D2L setup and the course page.